we'll actually get right in here. So, today, we want to look at situations where a trait isn't necessarily dominant, but over another one, but nor, that just doesn't follow this sort of simple Mendelian model that we've seen so far. And an example of this,
Partial
codominance.
Oh, I thought it was an arrow. And there's no D on it.
What?
Partial and codominance.
Dominance. That's the word I'm looking for.
But there's no D. There's no D on it.
Of what?
And.
Sorry, what's that? Guys, sorry, what? Okay, could you stop wasting my time? All right, like this is serious business. We're not in friggin' history class right now. But I get it. I had history classes for pretending there's spelling errors and everyone has a yuck. This is science. It's serious business.
Also for catching up on your sleep and on your social media, as Mr. Orlando has
That's
said.
right. Yes. Well, that's right. Two things can be true, Kate Odette.
Calling out history class.
No, I love history. History. Listen, I almost was a history minor, and I was briefly a history major. Right? I took history electives all the way through university. Then after second year, where I had, let's call it a minor academic meltdown, I grew a beard, I bought a canoe, I stopped going to class.
You have a beard.
I didn't. And I mean, I don't even know that you can call this a beard. I have like 7 hairs on my face that kind of curl around and make me look like a prepubescent child masquerading as an adult. But anyway, that's a different discussion. Anyway, so I was briefly a philosophy major, then I was briefly a history major, and then I ended up as a biochemistry major. And then through a weird clerical error where I filled out some paperwork wrong, my diploma actually says I'm a biology major. But anyway, the point being, you can take a lot of different pathways, and they all end up, all roads lead to Rome, as they say. So no, nothing but respect for history. I loved all my history classes, Doesn't change the fact that science is serious business. And I don't think I'm quite clever enough to be a history teacher. See, like with science, you're teaching like information. Like this is this thing, this is how it works. You're teaching information and skills. History, you have to teach what's that thing I don't do well? Like thinking and processing and analysis and memory, which,
I feel like there's more of that in science than
I disagree, but I think that's a different discussion. Anyway, enough about that. Important thing being, right now we want to talk about partial and codominance, and that's the idea of this. Not all traits have a simple dominant and recessive allele.
I think Critton has a question.
Yes, Critton.
For the organic chemist, do you want insect citations for it? Because I usually use text for one.
No, you can. I mean, you're welcome to. You can also just throw them at the end. Yep, that's totally fine. So, by the way, remind me what an allele is.
Allele is big Y,
Those are the genotypes, absolutely. And genotypes are the combinations of alleles. What are the alleles themselves?
It's a type of gene. It's
We're getting there. It's not a type of gene, but it's related to.
And different, genes can be different because they share stuff and
You're doing great. You're very much on the right track. Yeah, help her out. The variations. So when you're talking about a single gene, a single locus on the DNA that codes for something, the allele is the different version of that codes for something else. So sometimes, like in Mendelian genetics we've learned so far, you have a hitchhiker's thumb or not, and one copy of the gene is dominant over another. The seeds are either green or they're yellow, and one is dominant over the other. Or the plant is either tall or it's short, and one is dominant over the other. But sometimes it doesn't work that way. In some cases, the heterozygous. Somebody want to go shut those doors? I love my graduates, and they're wonderful. But so in some cases, the heterozygous genotype is a blend.
Not as very venting right now.
I want to hear all about it, but not right now. So in some cases, the heterozygous genotype will actually just be, or I should say phenotype, rather. The phenotype itself is a blend of the two alleles. All right? And we call this codominance. Why is that an arrow? So we could look at an example, and in this case we will look at straight hair and curly hair in humans.
That was my question in Elastic's room.
Okay. So, in this case, this is controlled, now that this is a bit of an oversimplification, but for this, it's controlled by one gene with two alleles. Now, the thing you're going to notice here is that by convention, we don't have a dominant or a recessive here, so we don't want to use C for curly as the letter or S for straight as the letter, because that would imply dominance. Does that make sense? So here we're actually you can do this a bunch of different ways, but a way you'll often see is a two-letter kind of system like this, where we'll say, we're talking about hair, and we're going to talk about the curly allele and the straight allele. Does that make sense? You'll tend to see something like this. You could also do it just like this, but then you can, if you're tracking multiple genes, it can become easy to miss that they are related. So, in this case, neither one is dominant. Well, if neither is dominant, what's going to happen if you have a copy of each? Right? So, we still have three possible genotypes. What are they? You could have the allele for curly hair, and the second copy could also be the allele for curly hair. That's a possible genotype. What would the second possible genotype be? We could have the allele for curly hair, but then the second one could be the allele for straight hair. Or, of course, both alleles could be for straight hair. Now, the genotypes, two of these are quite obvious. What are the obvious genotypes here? Yeah, curly is obviously going to give us curly hair. Right, makes sense. And HSHS is obviously going to give us straight hair. Love it. But what about the heterozygous case? So this would be defined as being homozygous curly. You can't say dominant because it isn't dominant. This would be homozygous straight-haired. But what about this case? Can your hair be both curly and straight?
Wavy.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Which is not both curly and straight. It's a blended trait.
So then what would gray be?
I don't know. Do I look like a guy who's put a lot of effort into learning how hair works?
Yes.
Because I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I have a thing I do where roughly once a year I get it cut, and then for the remainder of the year, after a shower, I do this. Kind of like a dog, and then I just trust that it'll all be okay. And I'm informed that it's not that okay. But, it gets the job done.
There's straight, and then there's wavy, and then there's curly, and then there's coils.
Okay. And the answer is that the truth is that there are other genes involved, but this is one gene that really does have sort of a major effect. So there's actually other things that factor in as well. But note that this is a blend of the two phenotypes.
That's like that one dude's theory.
Yeah. So this is an example of something that sort of supports, at least in part, the idea of Lamarckian genetics. Pardon-moi. That we're going to teach the rest of this lesson. So we could look at an example where I feel like I'm going to get written up for racial prejudice here, so I'm going to stop. But I am part French, and I think that makes it okay. Does that make it okay? That makes it okay, right? Oui. So, pour un exemple. I'm also part Italian, so we'll get there. Yeah. And Scottish, so I can make fun of them. And English, so I can make fun of them. And then beyond that, I have no thoughts.
American? Do you have any American?
I have American family who suck. Does that count? Who I love. I love them. They're great. They're great, but they're not. Does that make sense? I love them dearly. I love them so very dearly. And they're sometimes and you know what? I bet they think I'm a challenging one to love, and that's why they have menus in restaurants. Because everyone likes different things, and that's okay.
And I'll
But
just get my plain water.
but God, you'll just get your plain water. I feel like that's a good description of your average Canadian, right? I feel like I'm basically plain water. It's actually horribly insulting, isn't it? That person is just like water at a restaurant. Free refills. Everyone likes water. You die without it. Sorry?
And it's iced. It sometimes has a lemon.
Oh, so nice with lemon or a cucumber. You get the cucumber in the water? That's nice.
Lime.
Do you not like cucumber water?
No.
Have you tried it?
Yeah.
And you're not a fan? And lime is fine. Lime's more a soda water thing for me. Anyway, okay, let's focus. So, let's look at an example. A curly-haired mother. Yeah, that's why this is example 2. E.g., exempla gratia, for the sake of example, 2, the Arabic number indicating the second thing.
The G actually stands for word. I thought it just was example.
No, okay, it can't be example because the word example is not spelled this way, right?
But it sounds like a G, so
Egg sample. No, exempla gratia, which is Latin meaning for the sake of example. As opposed to this, when you see IE, what does that stand for? No, id est, which means which is. So, this is a thing to know. We use this when giving an example. You don't have to write this.
Oh, that's wait.
And we quiet. And we use this when restating something. So when you want to say something and then maybe you want to describe it in friendlier terms, you'd say i.e. blah, 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 which just means another way of saying this is this other way. Versus e.g., which stands for exempla gratia, which means here's an example of the thing I just spoke about. Exempla gratia, id est. That's your Latin lesson for the day. You just thought eggs sample.
I thought they both meant the same thing, but it's up to the person's discretion.
No, they have distinctly different uses.
I don't know. I don't.
Example, restatement.
I'm so the one that thought that EG just meant examples. So
That's okay. Listen, here's the deal. Why wouldn't you think that? Because you know what the first sound in example is? Egg, right? So if English made any kind of sense, which it doesn't, example would be spelled egg sample.
that's I used to spell fitness
But-
PHYTS.
No, they didn't, because it comes from the Latin. But that's a different.
No, I said I used to spell.
You used to, of course you did. We all did, because that's the great challenge of learning English, right? Is that they teach you, just sound it out, and then once they teach you that, they're like, by the way, when you sound it out, you look stupid. Actually, memorize all these special cases. Welcome to English. Italian, very few special cases. Italian, everything's spelt how it sounds. Every vowel makes one sound. Every consonant makes one sound, except for C and G, which make two sounds. Ch and K, and J and G. And there's no double letters. It's not like English, where it's S makes a S sound, but so does C. Right? Here's it. What sound does O make? O. What other sound? Ah. oo, right? Like, here's a word for you. What sound does O make there? Clearly it makes an I sound, right? Like women, I. Why does O make an I sound? I don't know, it shouldn't. Sorry?
That's return.
Are you returning me to task?
Yes, please.
All right, fair enough. A curly-haired mother is crossed with, which is, a euphemism for reproduces with, is crossed with a wavy-haired father.
Tanner's here.
Hello, Tanner. How are you? I am well, thank you. What will the phenotypic... Sorry, what's that? Oh, that's okay. Thank you for letting me know. And genotypic frequencies of the F1 generation.
Let's do it.
Focus! Focus! My soul?
So grateful. What an amazing educator.
That felt sarcastic, and I didn't care for your tone.
Aiden. Come on.
His whole personality is sarcasm and rudeness. He's being mean to me right
But he's charming, right? We can all agree. He's yes.
now. Nobody thinks that.
You always point out in women that what is your last name being
If my last name was shared phonetics with women, but my last name is Italian, so it's actually like Orlando, right? But like, because the other thing Italians do is they always stress the second to last syllable of every word, which is what makes it sound so sing-songy, right? So pick any Italian word you want. They always put the stress on the second to last syllable. I do like making pasta.
Do you make tomato sauce by yourself?
I do, yeah.
Can you give me some?
Yes. Sure. Do you want me to bring some in? Okay.
Yeah, for real, dude.
Yeah. I make my own noodles too. I make the pasta and the sauce fresh. Yeah.
You just make me sauce.
What type of sauce
Do you put
make
cake?
based off?
Here's a question. My grandma was Italian, and she
Okay.
taught my aunt and taught my mom how to make tomato sauce.
Got it.
And she puts all these things in it, like pepperoni and stuff.
You can do. I was taught to shred carrots in and then like cook with like a pork bone.
In pasta sauce?
Yeah, in lieu of
I don't want it.
oh no, trust me, you do. You'd never know they're there. But in lieu of sugar, it breaks down. Like once you cook it long enough, it breaks down into kind of sugars, but it's a more natural source and it's like kind of less aggressive. But anyway, yeah, you can do all sorts of things. There's as many ways to make a pomodoro sauce as there are people making tomato sauce. So anyway,
Get out of here.
Celery.
should we do we should do a cooking day one day. In our plant unit, maybe we'll do a day where we make sauce. And we can talk about the different macromolecules found in tomatoes. And I can also teach you my family recipe. There we go. That could be a day. That'd be fun. So anyway, take a moment and do this. All right? I want you to do it. And then I want to know the phenotypes and genotypes. And this should take you 2 minutes. All right? So I'm going to give you 3. Go.
Already done.
Yes! Yes, it's very
I'm sorry.
necessary.
I'm sorry.
Continue to
It
draw.
was very, very distracting.
I know, that's the point.
Shh. It's very noisy in here. And I get that that's my fault, but let's bring it down. I think it's very kind that you suggest I can make it 5 minutes. That was generous. I think I'm so much worse than that. But thank you. Okay, if mom is curly-haired, what is her genotype? If mom is curly-haired... Well, mom isn't some sort of genetic freak who only has one chromosome, though.
HCHG.
There we go. Okay, good. Which means when she produces ova, they will either have HC or HC. Okay. And then dad, if he is wavy-haired, what's his genotype? HC, HS, and if you switch those, it makes no difference. I happen to have done it in this order. It's irrelevant. Which means when he produces sperm cells, they will either have
Or wavy hair.
sperm don't have wavy hair or straight hair. Sperm don't have hair.
No.
Guys, we'll get to like reproductive system later, but just so you know, if how they taught you sex ed was like with little cartoon sperm that have hairdos, I'm here to tell you that was just like a cartoon.
Okay.
Sorry.
And then another one is HS.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you. I'm so glad we're moving on.
Very good.
They were asking when it would turn out that.
And shh. Okay. So now with these, if this sperm and this ova meet, we would end up with an adult who is HC.
When you say this, by the way, we don't say it for you.
HC. Okay. And what would that genotype be, or the phenotype be? What kind of hair? Okay, curly haired. Great. What about this one? HC, and that would obviously be curly haired. And then this one?
HCHS, wavy hair.
I'm doing my best.
What? Oh.
Is that better?
Bruh. HCHS, curly hair, or wavy hair.
Good.
And then the same thing.
Wave?
And here we'd get the same, right? So in this particular cross, with this type of thing, a wavy-haired and a curly-haired person can't produce a straight-haired offspring with this particular set of genetics. And again, there are other genes involved. So if you have straight hair and one of your parents is curly-haired and the other is wavy-haired, don't go home and be like, my teacher says that I can't be your child. What's going on here? I demand to meet the mailman. There's other things at play here. All right. So and they're on strike anyway. So just leave them alone.
Yeah.
And all right.
It's every Christmas.
Sorry.
It's every Christmas.
There you go. So HCHC would be 50%. HCHS would be 50%. And obviously HSHS would be 0%. Right? And then we would say straight-haired would be 0. Wavy would be, that's the worst handwriting anyone's ever done. And curly-haired would be 50%. How's that feel? Not too bad? So again, this is different from dominance and recessive, right? It's a whole different model that you have to be comfortable with. I'm sorry.
It wasn't bad. You
You
just made it awkward.
What? No, that was okay. Focus. Listen. I want to be clear about something. I'm sarcastic about things, but I will never compliment you insincerely, nor will I apologize insincerely, and I do mean that. So I say a lot of negative things. I'm difficult, but if I say something nice about you, I mean it, and if I say I'm sorry, I mean it. Does that make sense? I lie a lot, but not about these things.
How do we know you're not
But if
lying?
you're gonna ask about something, I'm gonna give you the honest
This is just
truth.
our own thing.
Okay, anyway, let's focus. All right. So the next thing I want to look at is what we call codominance. So the last example was partial dominance, where the heterozygote has a blend of the two traits. In codominance, heterozygotes, quiet. Heterozygotes exhibit both dominant traits. Now, this doesn't always make sense. This would be if hair type was codominant. If you were heterozygote, it would mean some of your hairs would be perfectly straight and some would be curly. That's not how hair works. Hair is an example of codominance. Oh, I did it. I did the thing. Damn it. Guys, look at me. I did it. I do this every year. I do it every year. I did it again.
We called it codominance.
The last example should have been partial dominance. I'm sorry.
I have a question.
Bro, I wrote this in pen. Are you kidding?
Just cross it out. You're not going to
I
die.
know it's pen.
Because I want them to look pretty.
I like that. I respect that. I'm sorry. You'll have to cross out or white out, but I don't have any to lend you. I'm sorry.
I wrote
I'm
the
sorry.
pen.
The previous example was partial dominance. Shh. This example is codominance. I'm sorry. Just.
I already scribbled it out.
I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway. Shh. And the example we're going to give is actually ABO blood typing. Does anyone know what blood type they have? Okay, yep. You're AB positive. I'm B positive, which I like to think of as instructions. Yes. You're type O. Okay. AB negative. Cool. We'll talk about the positive and the negative in a later lesson. That means a different thing. But the ABO of it all is here. ABO blood type is controlled by one gene with 3 alleles. Shh. Quiet. Okay, now, here's the thing. The first allele is the A allele, which codes for A antigens. And an antigen is just, if this is your blood cell, all right, there's your little red blood cell. Oh, it looks so good. Okay, what a great little blood cell. You can imagine this thing where you have these little kind of flags or these little markers on the outside. Can you kind of picture that? Well, I just drew a picture, so hopefully that will help some. Those are called antigens. So if you have the A allele, it codes for A antigens. And this allele is dominant, which means with just one copy, you're going to get A alleles. Or A antigens, rather. The B allele codes for B antigens, which means that, and it is also dominant, which means with just one copy of that, you'll have these little B flags there. And I'm going to show them as squares just to kind of make them visually a little bit different from the first.
Are these gene things the things that were hanging in Mr. Hirsch's roof?
I have no idea. Sorry, but I'm not sure. And this is also dominant, which means that these two together are co-dominant. They're dominant together. Does that make sense? You're not going to get a blend. It's not like if you have both, you're going to get the... But then there's a third allele. And the third allele is, as some of you have mentioned, Ava, I think you said, what's your blood type? O. So there's a third allele called O, and this actually just doesn't code for anything. It's just broken. It codes for nothing.
Broken.
Which means that it codes for a red blood cell that just doesn't have these markers on the surface. Not the A markers, not the B markers. It just doesn't code for anything. It is recessive. Which means the only way to have no markers is if you have not one copy of the O allele, but...
Is that why O is the most rare?
O isn't the most rare, actually, but it is relatively rare. I can't remember what the most rare is, but anyway, that's not... Sorry?
Is it
I don't know.
is it
I don't know what that
like
means,
A
but-
negative or something? Like it's either universal.
Well, we'll get there. We'll talk about that. We're not going to talk about that today because we have to talk about the immune system before that makes sense, but we'll explain why O negative is the universal donor later. We'll talk about why AB positive is the universal recipient later because we're not even talking about the negative and the positive of it yet, right? There's lots more to understand with this. So, we haven't dealt with a 3 allele gene yet, I don't believe. Have we? I don't think so. But this one's interesting because we have 2 dominant genes and 1 recessive gene. How many genotypes are possible here? Yeah, it's lots, right? Because if you look, you could be big A, right? You could be big A, B, quiet. You could be A, O, right? Then you could also be B, B. I'm not going to bother writing BA because that's the same as AB, but you could also be B, O. And then you could also be OO. These are the possible genotypes. Yeah. I would love to. How's that? Okay, now, If you had 2 copies of the A allele, what type of blood will you obviously have? Yeah, you'll have type A. And what will your blood cells look like? Well, they'll be like this, and they'll have all those little A antigens on them, right? And I'm just going to kind of sketch that like that. Great. What if you have an A and a B? What type will you be? Type?
Codominant.
It's codominant, so you're going to be type AB. And what that means is just that your cells actually have both types of antigens. You've got all these little A antigens like that, but then you've also got the B ones. You just have both traits. Does that make sense? That's what it means for something to have codominance. If you have both alleles, you have both traits. But keep in mind that we also have a recessive trait here. So if your genotype is AO, what will your blood type be?
A.
Type A. Very good. In which case you'll have your blood cell and it will only have the A antigens on it, not the B ones. What if you have genotype BB?
Type B.
You would have type B blood, which will be there, and we'll have just these little square antigens. I think I'll go back and color code these later to make it even more kind of obvious. But are those visibly not circles, I hope?
Just squares, yeah.
Good. What if you have BO? What type would you have?
Supposed to be squares, and then, A is supposed to be circles,
Yep.
and B is supposed to be squares.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. What if you're BO?
Then you're B.
Then you're type B. Very good.
And if you're O, then you're O.
That's right.
It's kind of like a recessive gene.
Yeah, so O is recessive, but A and B are both dominant in this case.
Yeah.
So that's the thing to take away. And obviously, if you're double O, then you would have type O blood, which means all things being equal, type O blood would be the most rare. As it happens for a variety of reasons, it isn't, because all else isn't equal. I am quickly, just to help kind of differentiate, I'm going to draw the A's in blue, and I'll do the B's in like crimson or something. Just to kind of make it a little easier to differentiate one from the other.
How many notes are left?
I don't know. With this class, I want you guys to know this. I kind of play it by ear, because if I find that like we're actually interested in something, then I'll teach you a bit more about it. Like, this biology is such a huge field that in the end I want to make it kind of interesting and engaging. So I'm going to cover the stuff we have to cover. And then beyond that, I'm happy to kind of, I don't know. Yeah, like I absolutely will. And that's something I've never taught before. So I'm going to learn as we go, which is kind of cool.
What?
Allergies.
Oh, you're going to teach that?
Yeah, which means I'm going to have to teach myself about it first. So I'm going to do some reading. Yeah? Where? Oh, I did miss a B. Thank you.
Oh, wow, good job.
Okay, so let's do an example. A heterozygous type A mom has a child
Can I turn the light off?
with a type O father.
Is everyone okay if I turn the light off? No.
What is the probability? You can go ahead. I don't know why I put 2 question marks there. So a heterozygous type A mom has a child with a type O father. What is the probability that their child will be type O? That's your question.
What type of which version of heterozygous?
You can figure that out.
Type A. Oh, should be okay. Ooh, 4.
You like how loud my announcement was this morning?
I did. If by like it you mean I certainly noticed. I thought your announcement was good. Did it cause me to go, ah? Yeah, yes, it did. But that's okay.
Literally?
Yes. No. Not an exaggeration.
And I feel like the one announcing the permission
Okay, shh.
before break was even louder.
Genetics. The song I like to call Genetics Question in A minor. I had a heterozygous type A mom. As a child. With a type O father. What are the odds that the child is also type O? I don't know. You probably want to make a Punnett square. You probably want to make a Punnett square. There's other ways to do it, but most people find that the Punnett square is the easiest. We've got 2 minutes more to answer the question. Then we're going to take it up. That's my song. It's called Genetics Question in A minor.
That is what I was going to ask.
I don't care for your bad attitude. That's how I feel.
I was going to like calculator fell. I was going to ask if you were waiting for someone to fill it or not.
No, we'll do this one together just because time's kind of tight. Wow. Oh man. Sorry, one sec. Oh God, I found something. I think it's yours. It was right in my back. It's a blade. Metaphorical, of course. That's good. That was intimidating. You got that. That's good. I like that. That was pretty good. Ah. Now I'm back in elementary school. You ever do the, like, squeeze the head? Yeah. Right? Like put your fingers up and then you, like, yeah, right? And it feels good, right? Anyway, okay. So, what's mom's genotype here?
AO.
Yeah, why's it got to be AO? We said she's heterozygous, so it's got to be A something.
A and B are both dominant.
But if she were AB, she wouldn't be type A. She'd be type AB. So the only choice for mom is AO. What about dad? He's got to be OO. And that makes this question, which isn't a word, fun fact, that makes this question pretty trivial. The hardest part of the question is just making sure that you can read from a sentence into this. Obviously, when mom produces ova, either that ovum will contain A or it will contain O, but it can't contain both, right? And then when dad produces spermatozoa, they will always contain O because both of his alleles are the same. And in this case, what's that mean? What will we get here?
AO.
AO, and that means this offspring will be type A. Okay, what about here? AO, and so they'll be type A. What about here? Oh, okay, and they'll be type O. Very good. And here? Oh, also type O. Okay, so let's answer the question.
50%.
2 out of 4, or 50%, will be type O.
Yeah.
This becomes an issue we'll learn when we get to our unit and we talk about the cardiovascular system. But like it's actually important because when we learn about your immune system, you'll learn that your immune system will attack blood that isn't yours. My mom's best friend, and someone I've known my whole life, this woman Linda, she lives in Switzerland now. She worked for Swiss Air for years. But she's in a really rough shape. She has lung cancer, and she's qualified for a lung transplant. But previously, about 15 years ago, she had bone cancer, and she had to have a bone marrow transplant. She had leukemia, and she had to have a bone marrow transplant. So she's in an interesting case. Where does your blood get made? In your bone marrow. Actually all over, but primarily your bone marrow is actually responsible for production of your red blood cells. She had to get a bone marrow transplant, and her blood type is different now than it was when she was born, because her bone marrow donor was her brother, who is a compatible donor, but a compatible donor with a different blood type. And so her blood type changed at 52 years of age when she got a bone marrow transplant, because I'm trying to get this right. I think she had been type AB, and her donor was just type B, and so now she only has primarily type B. But there's still other places in her body does produce some blood, so she has some type A blood. So when they were finding her a lung donor, they had to be very careful about finding an appropriate match, because you can't just test her blood and quickly get what her blood type is. But blood type matching matters. And that can matter a lot when you're having a child. When women become pregnant, it is possible for a woman to become pregnant with a child whose blood is incompatible with her own. And the danger there is that there's not supposed to be any blood-to-blood transfer in a normal pregnancy between mom and baby. At the placenta wall, you get the interface of nutrients from baby and mom. But if there's some damage to that, you can actually get blood crossing, and mom's immune system can potentially attack and kill baby. And we have ways to treat that to prevent that from happening. But so knowing, so like when my wife was a midwife, they would always check. And for women with certain blood types, they have to be careful, because it's possible that their child could have an incompatible blood type. And that's something they have to take into account and make precautions for. Yeah.
That happened if you had like two different, so you had like an AO and a BO.
It tends to be the RH factor, the positive or the negative of it, that is the bigger risk for a variety of reasons. And we haven't actually learned about the RH factor yet. It's actually easier. It's just a simple dominant recessive gene. We'll factor that in later on. Anyway, no homework for today. Tomorrow you're going to get a little project that you start working on. So I will give that to you then. But I would say bio doesn't always lend itself well to homework, but it does lend itself well to studying and reviewing. And especially if you found like last unit, you were like, hey, I would have been happier with a higher test mark. We're probably about halfway through this unit. We got a ways to go. Now is the time to start reviewing and studying every day, right? Like write it out, read your notes, write practice notes, study. Don't wait until 2 days before the test. Bio just tends to have too much information to reward that kind of studying. You won't do well. And I want you all to do well. Every one of you. Even you. Even you. Especially you. But especially you.